Turbo Conquering Mega Eagle. Okay, folks, how you doing? I get through quite a few plugs, and I've done a few projects recently. You know, and I always save old plugs and cut the flexes off things that I'm throwing out and that. But I've used them all up. Like I break plugs that are on machines and whatnot. You know, maybe I'll unplug it and drop a lump of metal on the plug or something like that. I don't know, or like this. I had to go and do an emergency job to get an aircraft jacked up in the air, and I blew the fuse. I was stuck on a desolate airfield with no fuses, so I put a bolt in there. Then I forgot about it. It was on my travelling welder, a stick welder, and I threw it in the back of the truck. Probably got wet a few times, and then you know, I tried using it again, and because there's rust on the bolt that I'd put in there instead of a fuse, it's melted the plug. But you know, that's the sort of thing that happens to the poor plugs that are in my care. You know, I wouldn't normally do that, but that's desperate measures and that. You know, boss calls the A team, and things have to happen. Not that he's my boss anymore, but that's a different story. Anyway, so I went out and had a look at all the different plugs you could buy. And there's quite a difference in price and quality, so I thought it'd be nice to do a little breakdown for those of you that are living in the UK, Ireland, Singapore, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, you know, places that still use these plugs. Mostly places that have had a little bit of British influence over their history, or certainly since people started putting power sockets in walls. Anyway, quite unusual compared to the rest of the world, because you know, British plugs always have a fuse in them. Yeah, and I don't think most other people around the world have fuses in them. So unless it's a plug that has a transformer built into the back of it, like a mobile phone, and that steps it down to 5.8 or 5.2 volts before it comes out the back of the plug. I don't think they need fuses, but anything else that has 240 coming out the plug will have a fuse in here, and then the maximum fuse rating is 13 amps. The other special thing about these plugs is well, not the plug, but the socket. So that's the earthing pin, or the ground, if you like. And you'll notice this is a wall mount socket, but that top pin is open, but these two have little covers in them. You know, the live and the neutral. Yeah, and it's impossible to stick anything in there, and that little cover in there only disappears once you put the third pin in there. So there's a little mechanism, there's a little wedge there, and pops them out of the way. I don't think most countries have this, but most other countries use thinner blade types, and it'd be harder for a child to stick their tongue in there, so maybe it doesn't matter that much. But these are nice chunky legs on them anyway. Because I do smash plugs up on a regular basis, I just went out and bought a box of 10 of the cheap ones. So these are the absolute cheapest I could find anywhere. They're not actually that bad. They're not as bad as I was expecting, so I'm quite pleasantly surprised. I also bought a perma plug. This one's made in England, and this is about £3.50. And I also bought the most expensive one I could find, and this is a Dura plug, and this is Malaysian. This is actually made. They use these plugs in Malaysia. I don't know if I said that, but the cheapest and the most expensive plugs I could find were both made by the same people, and you know, that's what they've got. I'm guessing whatever language they speak in Malaysia written there. Malaysian, maybe. Do they speak Malaysian in Malaysia? I do actually know a couple of Malaysians. Maybe I could ask them. So what? So what we like to find is an immediate difference in the pins. Like these two more expensive ones. These look like an aluminium bronze. It's not brass, but you know, it's incredibly hard. So you have a very hard time scratching this stuff. This one's a little bit brighter, to be honest. But they're both very hard indeed. And this one might be an aluminium bronze as well, but if it is, it's a completely different measure of Ali and copper. So this could conceivably be a higher aluminium content copper, making it cheaper, which would make sense for the cheaper plug. They don't look like brass. They're a little bit too sort of golden colour for brass, you know. Either way, it's a bit unusual. This has a Phillips screw in it. I mean, I've never seen a Phillips screw in the back. They're nearly always flatheads, but we'll open them up and see what the difference is. Yeah, they're flatheads, or like this. They're, you know, that's got a screw with, you know, which you can use both a Phillips and a flathead. Oh, that's not nice. Normally the screws are captive. I like a captive screw in a plug, you know. So perhaps the British plug loses a mark there. Oh, but look at that. Has a brass insert for that machine screw. That's very nice, isn't it? I mean, like, hopefully a few of you are getting excited about this, because wow, that's something special, isn't it? Very nice. Oh god, 1 second, folks. Very interesting. Oh, that one also has a brass insert in there. Very nice. This is the chunkiest body of the whole lot. So if you're worried about damaging your plugs and you want something really robust, this Joa plug instantly feels much more robust than the Perma plug and the cheap plug. I'm losing screws now. Okay. There we go. Isn't really much difference inside. I'd say this Perma plug has the biggest cable grip, which is nice. You know, you want a chunky cable grip. Cheap one's a lot narrower, and Mr. Joa plug is sort of somewhere in between, I suppose. Difference in materials on the fuse holder, that's interesting. So what have we got here? Let's see if we can pull that pin out with the, doesn't want to come out. Just take that front portion out. Okay, that's very clever. They've got these live and neutral in the expensive plug, in the Dura plug. They're actually held captive. So normally when you take the back off a plug, you can just push these pins out. But so you can on the cheaper one, and the middle of the road perma plug, you can just pull them out. I mean, it does make wiring them up a bit easier, I suppose, if you can do that. But this one, they're captive. But man, this expensive Malaysian one is beautifully made. I'm going to show you in a second. This is I'm probably going to break it getting it out, so I hope you appreciate this, because this will be this is a five quid plug. Let's hope I don't break it, eh? Oh, there we go. Look at the difference in quality. This is where the extra money goes. Okay, so this is a close up of the expensive Malaysian plug, of the Dura plug. It's actually all one piece. So so the way the fuse clips in there, yeah, a nice positive click. It's rounded as well, so you get the receptacle for the fuse is got fantastic surface area there. And the other weird thing is, well, it's a good thing, but this front holder for the fuse is rounded, contoured to the fuse as well, and it has a nice positive lock on that fuse. Yeah, that's nice, although I don't like this folded up construction for the screw, because we've got just a machine screw that's only held on by you know, 2 thicknesses of sheet brass. That's a bit of a letdown. So I like that very much. That's a good way of doing things. You see the other two, this is the more traditional way of doing it. This is the cheap plug we've got here. You've got just you know, a bit of copper alloy that's riveted onto the top of the leg like that. Same at the front. You've got the copper alloy riveted onto the terminal, but this terminal is a lot nicer because it's a solid bit of machined brass with a you know, machine screw going through a more substantial thread. Same again on the perma plug, exactly the same way, but different alloy on the legs. Horses for courses, isn't it? It's a shame they couldn't combine that sort of leg, which I really like the look of, with you know, the more substantial terminal. That's pretty cool. I've not seen the captive legs before. This one's still held in there by a couple of catches there, a couple of lugs. Normally it's the back cover. So on these two, the back cover actually holds the legs in to stop the legs popping up when you poke it into the wall. But obviously that's not happening on here. So if these locking tabs fell for any reason, you see that, then the leg's going to be no longer secure, is it? Hey, pretty cool, pretty cool. Well done, Mr. Who Makes These. Yeah, I know it's Asta. So they're the manufacturers. Mr. Asta. I do like the your live leg. It's sexy. Let's pop that back in before we get things lost. So, okay, what can I conclude from this? I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think I've seen enough to persuade me that this is a nice plug. I've no doubt about that, and I do like the expensive British one. And more than that, I like buying products made in my own country, as everyone should. You know, a penny spent in England is a penny less they have to tax me to pay for my hospital treatment when I fuck myself up, isn't it? You know, that's the way I look at it. Anyway, but at the same time, I don't think you should buy products just because they're English. That leads to complacency, doesn't it? I think that's what happened with Rover. You know, people carried on buying them because they were the only company making cars in England, and they kind of took that for granted and stopped putting any effort at all into making decent cars, didn't they? You know, if they'd had a bit of a wake-up call, then maybe they would have put some more effort into doing a half-decent job of making their motors. But having said that, the English plug is, I don't know, kind of in the middle, isn't it? It's not as substantial as the really expensive plug. It's got some nice features, nice and chunky. I think I could jump up and down on this a little bit and it would be okay. I don't think it would last as long as the expensive Duraplug. So surprisingly enough, there are no surprises, and it would appear, as far as plugs are concerned, you get exactly what you pay for. If you want £5 worth of quality, which for me is unnecessary, spend £5. If you want £3 worth of quality, spend £3. And if you want the cheapest possible plugs that are still okay and completely serviceable, be like me and buy these plugs. Okay, these are also Malaysian plugs. These are the cheap Malaysian plugs. There you go. Status. Yeah? Alright, well I hope this has been vaguely interesting or something, I don't know. That's pretty much it, I suppose. And for everyone who doesn't have a Type G plug in their life, I hope you still enjoyed this this look into British, Malaysian, Saudi, Irish, Maltese, Zimbabwean and Gambian electrics. Cheerio folks, bye bye.